Meta, the social media giant, is facing mounting criticism from various stakeholders due to its failure to address a surge in fraudulent activities on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Users worldwide are suffering substantial financial losses, prompting calls for action. A recent investigation by The Guardian has shed light on the personal stories behind scams originating on Meta's platforms. It is estimated that these scams will result in significant financial losses globally. The frequency of purchase scams on Facebook and Instagram is alarming, with an average of one victim every 7 minutes. The Guardian reached out to individuals who have fallen prey to scams on these platforms and WhatsApp. Many victims have expressed difficulties in reporting scams to Meta, often receiving no response or automated replies. Some have lost substantial sums of money through investment scams, while others have been deceived by fraudulent online stores, resulting in smaller losses. One particularly distressing scam mentioned is the WhatsApp "Hi Mum" impersonation, where fraudsters pretend to be family members and trick victims into sending large amounts of money. Financial institutions, including major banks, have voiced concerns that scams originating from Meta's platforms are causing significant financial losses for users. Urgent action is needed to address this issue and hold Meta accountable. Industry experts and lawmakers have criticized Meta for neglecting to prioritize consumer protection. They argue that stricter regulations and measures must be implemented to safeguard users from scams. While some progress has been made through the Online Safety Bill, which mandates the removal of scam advertisements, there is currently no provision for compensating victims of scams. Banks and financial institutions are urging Meta to take financial responsibility for facilitating these fraudulent activities. To combat the growing epidemic of scams, financial incentives are being proposed to encourage tech companies to take swift action against fraud. They should also contribute to reimbursing victims based on a polluter pays principle. Furthermore, Meta's platforms, especially Facebook, have been identified as primary enablers of fraud by several financial institutions. Starling Bank, for instance, ceased all paid advertising on Meta platforms in protest against the inadequate response to scams. Consumer advocacy groups, such as Which, have found misleading investment advertisements on Facebook and Instagram. They emphasize the need for Meta and other social media firms to assume responsibility and implement robust measures to prevent scams. It is crucial for policymakers to pass legislation that includes comprehensive consumer protections. This will empower regulatory bodies to impose fines on social media platforms that fail to adequately prevent fraud. In addition to holding tech companies accountable, banks must fulfill their responsibility to reimburse victims of scams. Proposed legislation aims to ensure that the majority of fraud victims receive compensation from their banks or payment providers. Meta acknowledges that fraud is a widespread issue affecting the entire industry. They claim to have implemented measures to block scams and require authorization for financial services advertisers. Consumer awareness campaigns on identifying fraudulent behavior are also being conducted. Meta's platforms are facing increasing scrutiny for their failure to combat scams effectively, resulting in significant financial losses for users. Stakeholders are demanding stronger regulations and increased accountability to protect individuals from falling victim to fraudulent activities. Thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing to support independent news.